if the Philadelphia Eagles don't get these problems fixed, it's going to be trouble down the line.
We better do that. Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
So the Eagles survive in overtime, 34-31. Did I expect overtime in this game? No. Did I expect a fight? Yes. Throw out the record books. It's a divisional game. It's really important. And, between Washington's defensive line and their offense and the amount of good players that they have in that roster, I expected somewhat of a battle today. But I think the Eagles made Washington look a lot better than they are, okay? I Jalen Hurts in this offense, okay? I thought they got things going in the beginning. I thought they got the run game going with Swift. They got A.J. Brown involved. They got Dallas Goedert involved. A.J. Brown was what? Jalen Hurts was, 25, 37, 319 yards and 2 touchdowns for the day. They had the rushing touchdown with DeAndre Swift, and then things just started to change after that. The Eagles get on defense. They're playing so friggin' conservative. So conservative. I felt like I was watching Gannon's defense this whole entire game. The second half was a little bit better, and then they kind of went back to their old ways. So offensively, the rushing attack kind of diminished in the second quarter because then they strayed away from DeAndre Swift. And then they started putting him in the passing game, which I thought was really good. I think DeAndre Swift had like 14 carries for 50-something yards. So obviously not the best game he had, but we needed to get everybody involved. This was a complete team win at the end of the day. We needed everybody to step up here. Gainwell only had, 14 snaps for not even 20 yards? It was like not even 20 yards Gainwell had today. Boston Scott didn't have a carry, and Rashad Penny didn't have a carry today. I don't know what's with Nick and these running backs. Why are they being treated this way? Why aren't they using more variety? I have no idea. It was atrocious. I think time management was atrocious. The defense was just pissing me off. I could talk about, the game and who scored, and I don't even care at this point. The bigger problem right now, like, we have the win. We have a divisional win. We're 4-0 right now, but we have a bigger problem, okay? Before this Miami game comes in a few weeks, okay, this offense really needs to be up to par. I thought there was a good rhythm in the beginning, and then there was some of the most random shit I have ever seen. You get into the red zone. Red zone was atrocious. It's still horrible. You get into a 3rd and 14 situation, 3rd and 12, whatever it is. You run with Jalen Hurts on a QB on a QB design run, the cop out play, the lazy play that Brian Johnson likes to use, and then you use Kenneth Gainwell. Out of all the running backs to get those tough yards, you use Kenneth Gainwell over DeAndre Swift. Are they saving DeAndre Swift? Are they doing this on purpose? Do they not want him to? I don't get how they're using these running backs. I still don't get it till this day what they're doing. I don't. Why is Rashad Penny not playing? That when Boston Scott was active, they were using him, and they don't even use him at all. So it's just really annoying. Devontae Smith had, 7 receptions for 78 yards. A.J. Brown had a monster game, 175 yards on 9 receptions, 2 receiving touchdowns. Those 2 touchdowns were great passes. Jalen Hurts had, he missed some reads. He missed some wide open guys. I know he missed Devontae Smith. I know he missed Dallas Goedert. There was a few passes that I looked over that he did miss. Some of his reads, I don't think he looked comfortable in half of this game. I really don't. I feel like he gets, not that he panics, I just feel like the Brian Johnson, Jalen Hurts connection, the rhythm going into this offense, I feel like he doesn't look comfortable at times. And then he throws sometimes he's bailing early. Sometimes he's running on his own. Like some of the shit that I seen today, it looks like we're in preseason. It looks like we're still trying to figure out our offense, and it's week 4. I know it's still early, but damn, you go from last week to this week. And obviously, I think you're facing a better team this week offensively, with Washington. Sam Howell, when he has a clean pocket, he can get the throws done. You know what I mean? Their offensive line gave up 10 sacks last week. I said to myself, I'm not going to believe it. I need to let this thing kind of drag out a little bit. They didn't get the wide receiver threes involved too much. Like, whatever's working is working. We got both our number one receivers involved in this game. We got the run game going at times, but red zone, I don't know what they're doing. They've had the ball at midfield twice, couldn't put points on the board because of it. It was just, is Brian Johnson being more of a friend than a coach? Like, what's the problem here with Brian Johnson and this offense? Brian Johnson's just like looking up from his piece of paper. He's like, that's what he looks like every time I see him. Like he's totally confused or something's going on, or maybe they need to bring in some guys like they did last year, bring in some guys to help out with the offense, bring in some like extra offensive assistants to help with the game planning. I don't know, because it was atrocious. Okay. You get to, the defense was just giving up yards after yards. And people are complaining that I'm complaining because last year people told me to relax when Gannon was taking their foots off teams' necks and they were giving them life. He was giving teams life, putting more pressure on the offense, which is not fair at all. And defense is just trying to just play prevent the whole entire time. I mean, Slay got burned a crap ton of times today. A crap ton of times. Josh Jobe, I'm sorry, but he's at times he can make some plays, but they need to go out at the trade deadline and get somebody because he is not going to last this year. Slay ended up getting hurt. He came back. They started putting Bradbury on the inside. I'm like, dude, like they need to stop. They need to stop this. I know we didn't have Sidney Brown. I know we didn't have Justin Evans. You couldn't move Sidney Brown all over the place. Like, so you were down a couple safeties. I get it. Terrell Edmonds could have had an easy pick. It probably could have caused, not caused a score by Washington. And the defensive line can only do so much. I thought Fletch played good. Jalen Carter almost had a sack today, but the Eagles got a lot of pressures in this game. There were certain times where Sam Howell escaped from the pocket and just escaped and really snuck out of there and got some first downs. He actually played pretty good on some of the pressures that we gave him. Hassan Reddick had his first sack. The biggest part to our defense that played lights out amazing was the linebackers. Zach Cunningham, was a tackling machine today and great on coverage. And holy crap, Nicholas Morrow. 3 sacks on the day for Nicholas Morrow. Just was a beast today. And then Nakobe Dean might come back in a week or two. Like, what are you going to do now with these linebackers? Like, they have gelled so well together. And now when Nakobe Dean comes back, what are you going to do? Are you going to put Rashad Penny on practice squad and make Dean a depth piece? I don't know, because you have to figure it out. There's no way if Nicholas Morrow is playing well, you're not putting him on practice squad. You're not doing it. I'm not going to let that happen. No way. That was the best group today. The defensive line got pressures too, but this secondary, Jesus Christ, dude, all game. I was watching the same thing. There's really nothing to discuss with the coverage. The second half, I thought they started playing more press. They didn't blitz much in this game. They blitzed here and there, but they didn't blitz as much as I wanted them to. Your pass rush is not getting there. You have got to blitz, okay? You got to do it because teams are just running down everything underneath. 5 to 7 yards, 6 to 8 yards, I'd have to say, in this game. Our guys are open. How are you supposed to generate that pass rush? It's not fair to these defensive linemen that are probably gassed. It's just ridiculous. You got penalties on defense. You got penalties on offense. How many drive killers did we have? Landon Dickerson. Jordan Mailata had an issue with Chase Young. You ended up getting Dickerson ended up getting hurt. Opeta had to come in later on, and Opeta actually played pretty well, to be honest. Our Dickerson came back. I know Juergens ended up getting hurt. They had to put Opeta at right guard, and he actually didn't play that bad. Opeta's a nice backup for us that could play both guard spots, which is good. But it just both sides, man. It's like this is what happens when you get two coordinators with no off-season planning, with no nothing. It was just so vanilla. It was just they were giving yards on defense. Literally. And then one time I thought they were impressed. Terry McLaurin and Slay's right in his face. McLaurin goes by Slay. Slay literally taps him with 2 fingers, lets him go. Wide open grass everywhere around Terry McLaurin. Like, who's supposed to peel off? Who's supposed to pick him up? Like, they don't know how to play zone, or they don't have. This roster has a lot of good players. Like, the players are bailing out. This coach, another coach that we have. This was the worst play calling of this season so far. They got the win, but what are you supposed to do against KC, the Bills? Like, what are you supposed to do against these teams in the second half of your schedule? Miami. What are you supposed to do? I can understand if you're facing Tyreek Hill and you have to play off the ball a little bit, but every corner is off the ball. Why? You know why? You know how the Bills had 10 sacks last week? Because they didn't play off the ball. The Eagles play off the ball so much. It's scary. And Desai is fine with that. I don't want him to count on a 4-man pass rush every single time. And Desai called his best game against Tampa Bay last week because he blitzed a lot and he was creative and getting pressure on the quarterback last week. But this is just, I don't know what this is. I'm worried a little bit. I mean, how can I not be? I mean, you face some pretty good weapons offensively with Curtis Samuel and McLaurin and Jahan Dotson and even Pringle, and he's a speed guy. And I thought they ran on us a little bit, but I thought the Eagles did fine. They didn't go crazy on us too much at times, but I don't know, man. I think the Eagles had 5 sacks today, which isn't. They could have had more than that. The Eagles could have scored probably another 21 points today. That's how much opportunity they had, and they shot themselves in the foot between these penalties, between these random. Look, I mean, the accepted penalty from Nick Sirianni. Remember the accepted penalty? It was like it would have been 4th and 2, he accepted the penalty, and it was 3rd and 6. You just gave Washington two chances to go score. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, you're accepting a 3rd and 6? Why? I'd rather have a 4th and 2 on one chance than a 3rd and 6 on 2 chances, because if they get the 3rd and 6 or they get the 4th and 1 after that, they'll have a second chance to go for it. I don't get it why accepting the penalty was great. The refs were completely bogus today. Like, they just got to let these guys play. Dickerson had some false start penalty, which I don't know why. Was he lined up over the ball? Like, he barely even moved. Like, his finger, his pointer finger moved by like an inch or something. I don't know what it was. The Bradbury PI was bullshit. The Slay PI was bullshit. These refs gotta let these guys play. You're holding on to jersey with a thumb and an index finger like this as you're rolling with the receiver. Like, everybody does that in every game. Like, there's holding all the time in every game. And these refs nitpicked every little freaking thing the Eagles did when it came to coverage. It was so annoying. I just don't know. I just don't. And then it's like the last drive. Okay. The Eagles before they scored, okay? Before they scored, they were up a touchdown. They scored the touchdown. They really had to milk that clock before scoring that touchdown. I think it was 2nd down. They threw that touchdown to AJ Brown on the right side of the end zone. Like, they should have milked that clock. Time management. You gave them a minute, 40 something seconds to come back and tie this game to go into overtime. I don't think they milked the clock enough at all. It was way too much time on the board. Like, they just, and then, Jesus, I mean, it was so random and so ugly and so, like, how many times are they going to take shots downfield? Like, I don't get it. Then Washington has it at the 20. It was like a 3rd and 17. 3rd and 17. They get 18 yards out of it. They get the 4th and 1, whatever it is, the 4th and 1. And then they go downfield. It was an incomplete pass on the 1-yard line with 1 second left. Then Sam Howell throws one more pass. Josh Jobe completely is off coverage and just loses his man. And it's a touchdown, I think, to Jahan Dotson with 1 second left. 1 second. They go into overtime. They win the coin toss. And in my mind, I didn't say it on stream, but in my mind, I was like, they get this coin toss, they're probably going to win this game. Thank God for Reed Blankenship and how good he is and how efficient he is in tackling, because Terry McLaurin caught a big pass that was almost a 1st down. The back of Terry McLaurin's foot was on Reed Blankenship's arm. The front of his foot hit the white line on the sideline. That's how close that pass was in overtime. The Eagles get a stop. Nicholas Morrow with the sack. Hassan Reddick had his first sack, which was great. And then the Eagles get the ball, and they just stopped running the ball. Like, I just don't get it with this team. They obviously ran with DeAndre Swift for like 6 yards. They gave that pass to Devontae Smith. Before that, they had that penalty that moved them out of field goal range. Then they got the run with DeAndre Swift for 6 yards. Then they got that short slant pass midfield to Devontae Smith. And then it was up to Jake Elliott to kick the game-winning, 53-yard field goal, which Jake Elliott, we have to be very happy with Jake Elliott and what he's done this year. He has saved us in a couple games already, and he already had a field goal before the game-winning field goal, on the day. So, I thought Britton Covey played really well. I thought his returns were great. From the grace of God, they punted the ball to us, later in the game. We were given a gift on the 41-yard line. There was a couple times in the game where the Eagles couldn't even move the ball. There was a couple times where the Eagles went to midfield. 2 plays, they got to the 50-yard line. Penalty on Malata. I'm just so all over the place with this because penalties killed us. Drive killers. And this offense looks random. I mean, it's overtime and you're passing the ball on 2nd and 4. You're throwing a deep pass on 2nd and 4. Like, you're just taking a shot. What's with them taking shots? Like, look, I respect them for doing it sometimes, but in very important moments, if you got 4 yards to go on 2nd down and you still have 2 plays to go until 4th down, why are you even wasting that play and throwing a shot downfield? Just throwing it up. Jalen Hurts got a penalty. He threw it in the deep end. Nobody was around. He got a penalty for that. Like, Brian Johnson has no idea what he's doing with this offense. No idea. 4 weeks in. Sometimes I think there's hope, and then they play like this shit, and that's how pissed off I get. I'm all over the place. I do apologize. But what are we going to do here? Like, what is the end game to this whole entire plan? Really, I'd like to know. Because defensively, Desai, I've never seen... is this Gannon's cousin? Is he his half-brother? I don't know, because that's what I was watching. I was watching the Eagles give up chunk yard plays each and every time. And like I said, going to the second half, I thought they played more press. They blitzed a little bit more. They were doing pretty well. And then they kind of went back to giving up some yards. They just did the same shit over and over and over again. So... why are you putting money? Why are you hiring a coach that's going to have the same scheme as Gannon from last year and is going to play the same way? You're going to lose games like this. I am not going to fall for this shit and say, "Oh, we won, so I'm not going to worry about it," because half of you, last year were pretty much like, tell me to relax and calm down, and we're winning games, and where it mattered the most, our defensive coordinator was outcoached in the most important game of the season. And that's what happened. So I'm going to be very critique on this defense and the way they're using these cornerbacks. Everybody's saying Slay's trash, and you're not giving the secondary a chance. When you're moving back 8 yards, 9 yards, you're not giving these guys a chance. What chance are you giving them when they have 5 to 8 yards being open before them having to react? You're having your corners stand there and react on a break of a route. You're not generating a pass rush. Because of that. Did they generate a pass rush today? Yes, they did. But do you know how much more they could have done in this game? They could have scored 3 more touchdowns today. Not even kidding. 3 more touchdowns today. They would have saved a touchdown today from happening. And I got to see the statistics for the team that's giving up the most yards in the passing game. It's got to be the Eagles, right? I mean, somewhat, something. I don't know. So that's all I really got to say. I mean, it was a shitty game. This is the worst game I've seen from the Eagles all year. These coaches have a gold mine in players that they could use to their advantage. This isn't a shitty roster. Do I think they need to improve a position? Sure. But do I think this is a garbage roster? This roster is carrying the coaches. The coaches aren't carrying the roster. The roster is bailing out the coaches. And it's really sad. I'm trying to figure out more here. Like, I can't even concentrate on the good things, really, because, like, yeah, A.J. Brown's statistics are great, 175 yards. That's awesome. Had a great day. The game was long enough for a lot of people to have good statistics in this game, but how do you get to overtime? Mistakes, penalties, not running the ball enough, passing three times. What the fuck are you doing? Brian Johnson is looking at his playbook, looking up, like, doesn't know what's going on. I feel like he doesn't know what is going on. I don't see Nick yelling at him. I don't see Nick reprimanding either of these guys on the sideline. I didn't see nothing on TV unless it happened. I don't know. But they're gonna get this win in overtime, and then they're gonna pump it up like it's the best win of the season. And yeah, it's great and all to win in overtime, but you're in overtime because both teams made a lot of mistakes. Simple as that. But the Eagles made a lot of mistakes. The Eagles made Washington look so much better, okay? Because they could have done a lot of damage on Washington. Missed opportunities, definitely. Getting DeAndre Swift in the passing game was great. The linebackers were great. DeAndre Swift was just, I got to say, man, having him mismatch on linebackers and how they use him is fantastic. But I still have questions on personnel for the running backs. I still got questions on what, they did the tush push a few times, which I already knew they were going to do that. I don't care about that. But they're not opening this offense enough. It's still not enough. They're not running the ball enough. This game, they didn't run the ball enough. I don't know. It's not good. This isn't good. This is not good at all. It's a win, but it's not good. These players are bailing everybody out. But we got to see what happens in the next few weeks. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I'm sorry I was all over the place in this video, but it was, it was very, I didn't feel good afterwards. Felt good because of the win. I don't feel good what the future is going to look like here when it comes to the rest of the season. When your second half of the schedule is going to be, it's going to be a crap show. You're going to be off the ball like that. You're going to give up chunk yards, and your offense doesn't even know how to get a touchdown in the red zone. They have issues with putting personnel in certain situations. You're using you're using a least explosive running back on a 3rd and 13 in red zone. Like, seriously, dude. A quarterback design run. You're just throwing the ball up. Like, I think there's so many cop-out plays. They're just throwing it up in the air deep on second down. They're QB run with Jalen Hurts. A toss the game. Like, what else do you have in your arsenal? Like, you have nothing in your arsenal offensively. What's in that playbook? Like, what plays are in there for red zone? Seriously, it makes me worried. Like, what are they doing? So, I know people are going to tell me to chill out, and I don't care. I don't give a shit, because last year everyone told me to chill out, and look what the end result was. Oh, yeah. Then everybody shut the fuck up at that time. So, that's how it goes. I'm going to curse that much. It's like, it's a win, but it feels like, man, this was the worst play calling I've seen from both sides. This was an ugly game. And what kept the Eagles in this game was personnel that made plays. That's it. That is it. So that's it. I'm done ranting about this game. I'm going to enjoy it for another day, but there's going to be a lot to talk about. And, we'll see what happens. Let me know how you guys feel about the game. I'm sorry. It's just... That play calling is disgusting. I'm tired of having brand new coordinators. I'm tired of having brand new coordinators that, we can't even keep a coordinator more than 2 years. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the switch. Somebody that could take over this roster that is, get some offensive line, get some offensive assistance in here. I don't know, because Brian Johnson just can't get it done. It's not enough. This is the least. Washington is the least of your worries of teams that you're facing this year. This defense with Desai, it's on and off. I told you last week I didn't like the zone coverage, and they were doing it last week. They were doing it the week before and the week before that. But this, you faced a receiving core that just they had free releases off the line. I mean, I don't get what they're like. What are they going to do against Zach Wilson and the Jets? Are they going to be the same way? Like, that's what I'm talking about. Gannon gave so much respect to like horrible quarterbacks last year, and I feel like Desai is going to do the same shit. He's going to make Zach Wilson look like a pro out there, over 70% completion percentage. That's what it's going to look like. It's going to really piss me off. So that's all I got to say. I need to relax tonight, and I need to get my mind straight because this play calling was fucking atrocious. And I'll see you guys on the next one. You guys have a great day. 4-0, can't complain, but we expect top tier play calling at this point. At least somewhat that makes sense. Personnel, substitutions, like something. It's not fair to the defensive line. It's not fair to the offensive line that you're running these stupid plays. But that's all I got to say. You guys have a great day. I'll see you guys in the next one. Shakes, what up? Follow us. Peace out, guys. Peace.